Hey, how are y'all doing today? This is Nate, Chris, and Brennan. We're in the Rule of
What's up?
Affairs. How are
What's
y'all
up?
doing
What's
What's
up?
today?
going
What's
on,
up?
guys?
And today we're reviewing Falcon and Winter Soldier, Episode 5.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Last,
Five.
Cinco.
right before right before the end here. I like
Yeah, there's only one more episode left. Mm.
One more episode left.
Now, I did hear briefly that this is going to be a longer episode. Now we might be like a solid hour 10
Really?
minutes.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
this
that.
one here had
I
a
heard.
runtime of 61 minutes. I mean, it
Hmm.
sadly
And it's
getting longer.
crazy. I was talking to my dad,
Okay.
and he was like,
That's
"Chris,
a mini movie.
yeah." I was talking to
Yeah.
my dad, and he was like, "Chris," he goes, "Man, there's way too much stuff they got to cover, man. This last episode better be a lot longer." I'm like, "Dad, gotta wait and see." You
That's
know,
just what they
this.
that's just what they do. WandaVision, same thing, like Falcon Winter Soldier. They might leave some loose ends untied, so we'll have to see.
Do we know before we dive into it? Are they doing another season of this one?
That's what I've heard. I
Okay,
heard that they would probably do like a season two. I don't
okay.
know when that would even come out, but I heard that they might.
I would like
Because the
that.
only one I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, was Loki is already geared to have 2 seasons. That's
I
the
didn't
only one
even
I've
I,
heard.
I didn't even hear that.
That's the
Interesting.
only one I've heard of so far right now that's scheduled or
Two seasons.
contracted, whatever, to have 2 seasons. Now,
Mm.
I would love for Falcon and Winter Soldier
Oh, I
to
would love
have
for that to have two
Me too.
seasons.
I
have
think this has been a dope series, actually.
I love the series.
I know we don't really but we've tried not to compare this to WandaVision, but
Well,
I
you
think
guys don't.
well, true. Um I think I would look forward to a season 2 of this more so than, and I guess the way WandaVision ended, I guess that's just going to go right into multiverse of madness. So we may not even necessarily need a season 2. But apples
Mm.
being apples, I just in my gut, I think I would be looking forward to a season 2 of Falcon Winter Soldier before I would see one or want to see one of WandaVision.
Mm. Right.
I think
Yeah. No.
I think
Honestly,
both
I.
of them have
I.
been. I think they've been. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier has been like a super dope series. Actually, I would definitely want to see another one. Actually, like a
Man,
second
shout
season.
out to Marvel. Shout out to Marvel, man. Shout
Honestly,
out to Marvel, Disney Plus. You know what I mean?
Look
they're
at
Shout
them,
out to
hitting. They're
them,
man.
hitting
man.
on these.
Not making
They're
a
hitting
good
on
movie
these.
and throwing away the universe. Like, look at them. Just look at them. Look at them keeping their good shit together.
Yeah. So what y'all think about episode 5, man? What were some of y'all takeaways? What y'all when you first watched it?
I loved
What
it.
was your gut telling you? What was your brain telling you? Give me good, Nate. What's up, man?
I loved it because you got essentially perspective from every character in the show
How
in
so?
that
Tell me about it.
episode. So you had Isaiah Bradley's perspective on what the shield means to
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
him and what he feels like the whole concept of Captain America means in general to him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and he obviously he comes from a background where it's kind of super understandable why he feels the way he does,
100%.
and why he shut himself out essentially from the world, like to the world he's dead, and he's perfectly fine with that at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you got to see what the show mean to Walker, and why, and what being Captain America meant to him. Like he felt like he felt it was a super big responsibility, and he was doing everything to live up to that responsibility of Captain America,
Mm.
and they just turned their back. They just turned their backs on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like and then obviously you got to see. How like with the Sam with Captain America offering Sam the show actually meant to him. Like, and you got some reconciliation with Bucky as well, where he's like, I didn't understand. Like, I just seen you turn down the shield. I didn't understand. Like, the difference is, and I don't think Steve understood the difference is of what handing the shield to you specifically as like a black man meant versus just like handing the shield to somebody. Like it was like because Steve didn't think like that. Like he didn't think in black and people in black and white. He just seen people as people, and he's seen the traits of a Captain America in Sam, and it didn't matter what color he was. He was like, yeah, you have the traits to be the next Captain America, and it was it's kind of like Steve Rogers has a blind, like he's kind of blind to how the world low-key is though in doing that. Like he's like, yes, he doesn't see the world in black and white, but a lot of stuff still happens in black and white. Like, and that's like kind of at the point that Isaiah Bradley was kind of making about if you accept that shield and stuff like that. Like they won't let you. Like I said, they won't let you be Captain America, and if they are, then the Captain America essentially they're letting you be ain't one that you should want to be. Essentially, like, and then obviously Bucky, like you got to hear what Bucky thought about the shield and him turning it down and stuff like that, because he was like, that shield was like the last like bit of family I got left, because. Which that kind of brings me off to something as well that I've been kind of getting at. That I feel like there's Loki been hitting that. Did Steve die?
You know what? They said it in this one, and
they said he was gone.
Yeah, right? Sam just says he's gone. But to guess all of our knowledge, last we see of Steve Rogers is on that bench.
Old. He's old.
And he's old, but we don't necessarily know. Did he go back to live out his days in whatever timeline? Was that Steve? How do I say this without being confusing myself? Was that Steve Rogers that gave Sam the shield, the older, old man Cap, if you want to call it? Is that just present day Steve Rogers? Or did he because remember now, like, dude is old. So like, did he come out from another timeline to give Bucky that shield and go back?
He was frozen for what, 70 years?
Yeah, he's old.
Yeah, Bucky's he's what, 104. Yeah, he would be. He's
106.
Yeah, right. He would be old as dirt.
Bucky's older than him, so I mean, I would say Steve would have to be, at least late 90s. I mean, I don't think they were that much different in age. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying is like that he didn't look like he was 90 years old when he gave him the shield.
So he
looked like he was like in his 70s. Which was he from a different? Did he just sneak out of a timeline real quick, give him the shield, and go back? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I definitely want to know what he meant by gone. Like, is he just gone from like in their lives? Like he's just kind of living his own life, or is he dead, or did he go back to the timeline he was once in? How did he get there in the first place?
Because I never really thought about it until this episode, where definitely when they were talking about the shield and stuff like that, and he's talking about I got his book and stuff like that, like they have all this memorabilia and stuff like that, like they're trying to remember him. I'm like, did Steve like did he go back in time and like he just died of old age or something at this point in time? Or
I don't think he did. I don't think so. I feel like we would know.
I feel like we may get that answer. I feel like we might get that answer just because the fact that he says that Steve is gone was such a kind of what? What did you just say? What do you mean he's gone? Right, it was one of this kind of things like, okay, this has to be answered. What do you mean he's gone?
Right.
What do you mean he's gone?
So that's not like Captain America is not Captain. It's not Steve isn't Captain America. That's like a Steve is gone. Like
right.
He's gone. So
like he's not coming back type of thing.
Or he's like you can't even go visiting. Like he, you know what I mean? Like you don't, And I would, let's be honest. He probably would be in, living a life of seclusion. I don't think, because you look at everything that's going on now. People would be beating down his door. You know what I mean? If they knew Just like Isaiah
Exactly
Bradley.
right.
Just like Isaiah Bradley. You know, I don't know. I'm dead to the world is what he said. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's
And
a real interesting point you bring up, Nate. Maybe we'll get that answer.
right. And I think that's kind of how he wants it. I think he just wants to be, kind of just normal. I don't think he wants to let anyone know who he is or what he's doing. Um, but I feel like if he was dead, we would know. You know what I mean? I feel like there's not a Marvel character that we don't know if they died or not, and he's like obviously a significant one. So I feel like
Yeah.
they would have shown us or let us kind of know in some way that he was, but that's still too much of a gray area. I feel like so.
I just and let me just say this because I think this is something that may be why there is that question mark because Steve at the end of Endgame gives Sam the shield, but he never says goodbye. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He never says goodbye.
Right.
He never says, you know, this is it. This is he never says any of that. And I guess when you look at like essentially his two best friends, if you will. One his lifelong friend in Bucky and his partner in Sam. And I think that's you just kind of maybe start thinking Nate that maybe that's why that was so weird because you never see him say goodbye. And you would think even on his deathbed or whatever, if that's the case, he would reach out to them. You know what I mean? He would reach out to them. He would want to spend almost the way Peggy Carter did with him in was that Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? Where essentially he was with
Right.
her. He was with her, on
when she
her.
pretty much died, essentially.
Yeah, when she dies. You know what I mean? He was at the
Yeah.
funeral, and you would think if he was dead, and you just brought up another thing, there would have been a huge funeral. Would have been a huge funeral.
100%. 100%.
So I don't think he's dead. I don't think he's dead. I don't think he's dead. So, Brendan, what did you think about episode 5, man? Nate has some good ideas and we set perspective. You definitely gained that. What did you get at episode 5?
So episode 5, I honestly I would say one of the favorite episodes in the series for me, mainly because I liked and enjoyed seeing like kind of Bucky's kind of just seeing his interaction with kind of Sam, like with his family and his sister, and when he was like staying with them and like just kind of seeing that dynamic. I thought it was nice. I thought it was just kind of funny. It was a really interesting dynamic, kind of just seeing him kind of like in a nice normal setting for once, kind of helping out there. And I enjoyed that, honestly. I don't know why. It was just kind of nice to see him kind of just kick it with Sam, honestly, and kind of just feel like part of the family and everything. But I just love there's the struggle and that Sam kind of dealt with figuring out where he kind of lies when it comes to the shield and like talking to Isaiah Bradley and talking to Bucky and like trying to figure out what it means for him. Because obviously to everyone else it kind of has different meanings, like Isaiah Bradley obviously for correct reason feels the way he feels about it.
Sure.
Bucky with his relationship with Steve feels the way he feels about it. But like Sam's trying to like encompass all that and kind of create like his own version of how he looks at it. And like I feel like that's like really, interesting. And I enjoy just kind of seeing him like taking all the views of the outside and kind of create his own and then eventually start like his training and like process with the shield and trying to become one with it. And just the excitement knowing that like he most likely got a new costume with the Wakandans that they sent him a package, so that's going to be really interesting to see. But yeah, I love this episode just because combination of the both of those. I thought it was a really good episode overall, honestly.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. There was I love the title to this one, Truth, and there were so many things in there that was a definitive explanation of someone else's truth. whether it was I mean, we could do a whole show on that, essentially that Isaiah Bradley scene. There was some deep stuff,
100%.
Um, and I loved in this one, that kind of emotion, that kind of sense of purpose, you know. I've talked about that a lot, in these kind of superhero things. What is someone's actual sense of purpose, besides the powers and all that kind of stuff? Like, what's your sense of purpose? Like, what are you really here for? So
Mm.
to see, and how Bradley was used and his sense of purpose was essentially decided for him. The story when he tells he went and saved the other soldiers and rescued them, and he wasn't given a medal. He was thrown in jail and tested for 30 years. He wasn't able to get letters from his wife. She died. Just the pain. And you clearly see why he feels the
Felt
way
like
he does.
just like Steve in the first Avenger, right? When he saved Bucky and all of them.
Yeah, but it
Like
was the
he
exact opposite.
didn't, yeah,
It
exact
was the
opposite
exact
reward,
opposite
right?
response
Mm.
and reception. The exact opposite.
Mm.
I mean, I love the scene when Sam shows up with the shield. He goes to open it. He goes, "Don't open it. I don't want to see it. Don't open it. I don't want to see it."
Mm.
You know, and it was just like, man, like what I guess looking at the episode, I would have loved. Man, I would have loved, like, give me some flashbacks. I would have loved some sort of flashback.
I
A
know.
young
Yeah.
Isaiah Bradley. I would have that. I think that would have just made this episode so much better. This was by far my favorite episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It just the. I love the way it started out with what we kind of knew was going to happen. The big fight scene,
Oh,
which was
100%.
which was dope between the three of them.
Oh, for sure.
Just not even necessarily the struggle to like defeat one another. It was literally the struggle to get the shield. Did you notice
Right.
that? Like they weren't necessarily trying to kill each other.
Right.
It was just getting the shield. And when they
Right.
got the shield, like the fight was over. It was like, wow.
Right.
You know what I
It
mean?
was just like the struggle of just taking that out of his hands, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
You saw,
Which I felt like Winter Soldier should have won that easily, but that's me.
I mean, look, man, Walker, he's no slouch, man. He's no slouch. Like he's no slouch. And to kind of get fast forward to him, you saw how essentially the United States government valued him. Like, man, you're just a dude who's supposed to carry this shield and do what the hell we say you're supposed to do. And when you don't act accordingly, you're gone. Like we don't like
Right.
you're gone. He said,
Right.
You'll leave here. You won't get any benefits, no pensions, no nothing. Have a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw that immediate truth,
Yeah.
and in a way you kind of felt bad for him. You know what I mean? Because he was just. I love the line when he says, "You made me. You made me.
Mm.
I've been doing everything you've asked and taught me to do.
Right. Right.
And now I do it, and now you turn your back on me. I loved it.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was almost a part, and I was just like, in that moment, I like wanted him to like I don't want to say win, but I was just like, part of me was just like, yeah. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You saw Bucky's truth when he talked about the shield. And he said, Nate, I think you said this, and he was like, man, this is the closest thing to family that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, Brendan, what you were talking about, seeing him interact, like, and I think what's evident is like, this dude is literally trying to figure out on the fly how to live a normal life because he hasn't been able to.
Right.
Him displaced 70 years, so it was like,
yeah.
And he's just been fighting in every single aspect of his
he
life,
has no idea how to interact with people.
He's
Mm-hmm.
going, like, what do you say?
Go ahead,
He's
I'm
going from one war. He's going from literally one war to the next war to the next war, and this is like.
Nate, you cut out for a second, Nate?
Oh, my bad. I was trying to come so far from my mic.
What'd you say?
Like he said, he's been going just like from one war to the next war, essentially, like over and over. Like that's all he's done, and now, I mean, he's doing this stuff here, but essentially now there's not like a war that he's forced to fight in. essentially. Like he don't know how to just be a he don't know how to just be a person. Like he's never had to essentially. Even when he was
Right.
in Wakanda, he was kind of still isolated. Like
Right. Right.
Also, I will say this episode was really interesting to kind of watch the shift between Carly, the freedom fighter, to Carly, the terrorist, almost.
yeah, and her
Mm-hmm.
one boy noticed him. He's like, "Yo, we
Yeah,
weren't
one boy
criminals."
noticed
No, she's
like,
like,
yo, like
we
what's
are
going on
criminals."
with
He's
you?
like,
Yeah.
Right.
I may
Right.
not want to be here.
And like it almost kind of makes you think, are they gonna turn on her eventually?
I don't think
You know what I
all of them.
mean?
I think a bunch of them are just for it. I think he's the one who's like, I think he was starting to get out of it last episode before when they were talking about they were going to kill Captain America, and he was like, he's like, and she's like, yeah, we're
Right.
going to
That's when he
do
was
it.
kind of like on the fence, like,
Yeah, like,
yeah. Right.
So I think he really wanted him to be the freedom fighter, and like he really like, and she's transitioning out of
I
freedom
mean,
fighter
and we
into
even saw that when like she lit the freaking place on fire with the
yeah.
GRC
Yeah.
And
members.
he was like, "Why'd you kill
That's
other
when he
people?"
was,
She's like, "You got to." He was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
she might be cracking.
right.
Oh no.
hmm So I thought that was interesting. You know, kind of hearing the stuff she was saying after Walker killed one of the members, and like she was just like kind of talking really crazily. So it was just kind of interesting to see her shift from like earlier in the series where she was just like stealing medicine and everyone saw her as like a hero, and now like and a lot of her members were like following her with like full force, like yeah, like you're the leader,
Mm-hmm.
like and now they're kind of looking at her side eyed a little bit because she's kind of going a little bit off the wall. So kind of be interesting to see if maybe like that guy does turn on her, maybe like it's maybe like doesn't want to follow the path she's going down, or with especially now that she hijacked like the meeting, so maybe something goes down and he doesn't want to follow with her, and maybe there's like a fight in the streets between all the flag smashers. So it definitely be interesting to see. But
It was crazy. I mean, it was very. I guess we can start even talking about this. It was very Hydra-esque, even to the point
Yeah.
where like even the guards that were in that room with all those diplomats, or like the one dude was like a cell. He was like, yeah, he gave no, yeah, one world, one people, and I was like, whoa, like he's just in here.
yeah, I know that felt
It was
very
very like
Hydra-esque, didn't it?
yeah, it was very Hydra. I was like, ooh, mm,
I like
okay,
that. I like that too. It
and
reminded me of just
reminded me of Hydra, period.
yeah.
And
Reminded me of Winter Soldier.
and I guess Julia Louise Dreyfus, I guess her character, I guess she's essentially playing Madam Hydra. You know what I mean? Like when she sat in between Walker and his girl, she was just like, yeah, you just pick up the phone when I call.
Right.
And that
It'd
and
be
that's
it'd be the best thing. She said it'd be the best thing you ever. Well, he said Taz for the first best thing you ever did. Other than
you
me
know
and your wife here.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
like,
She's just
pick
like,
up,
who is this chick here?
pick up the phone when I call. So that's why I'm thinking like that with that kind of stuff, and I don't know if they can cram all that into one episode. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe there is, and I'll have to maybe we'll just double check to see if there's a season 2 of this, because there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, what the whole Thunderbolts thing. The three ladies, the Dora Milaje, it took Zemo. Didn't they say they were taking him to the raft? They
To
didn't.
the
They
raft.
didn't. Which is that's Thunderbolt's little get up. Thunderbolt and Tony Stark built that. You know, that's where they all ended up at the end of Civil War, the raft. So
Mm-hmm.
you already know people can escape from there. You know what I mean? So like, it's just kind of going to be, what is this setting up, and will we get a chance to see that? Um,
Right. I mean, doesn't Thunderbolt Ross control that place? Or
right?
Ross?
Yeah, that's his.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his. So matter of fact, I believe someone even said that's where the Abomination is. Believe it or not, somebody said the Abomination's there.
There's some people in there. They show every single cell in that place.
Yeah, there's some people
All right,
in
I
there.
feel like there's some people in there.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess we can go ahead and dive into what we think we'll see in this last episode because there's a lot, and I I would love for it to be
Man,
like
honestly,
two
I don't
hours.
know.
You don't know?
Honestly,
Look,
I don't
first thing
know
I
because
expect
like
to see Sam Wilson, Captain America.
100%, 100%. I expect to see Sam Wilson, Captain America, new suit, ready, decked out. It's interesting though because I have a weird feeling we won't see Walker in this. I feel like they might just like leave him like they had the end credit scene where he was like building like his own kind of shield, and like you
Yeah,
have the
one
Madam
thing.
Hydra scene.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being like a second season antagonist. Like,
Yeah,
100%,
like they
100.
I know
And then you
finish
one
have
off.
that
thing.
Madam, you have the Madam Hydra scene. Like I feel like we're just not even gonna see him. He's just like behind the scenes, just like getting ready, like just trying to. Yeah, I have a feeling.
Yeah, like as cool as the scene as that was, it took me back to Tony Stark in the
I
cave,
know, right? Didn't it?
right?
God,
But then I was thinking about, it, I was like, if this cat showed up with this motherfucking shield made out of aluminum foil, he's gonna get dealt with.
He's gonna get bodied. Oh
He's
my
gonna
God.
get dealt with. Like that thing is going to just fold in half when somebody hits it. Like he better not show up with that shield. Anyway,
Yeah, no,
um,
but it's gonna be interesting. I'm expecting most likely there's gonna be a final clash between the Flag Smashers, Sam Wilson, and most likely Bucky. That's most likely gonna happen. I see that happening. I kind of want to see if we're gonna even know who this Power Broker character is. Honestly, like we just still have get to know who he is. Sharon
True
Carter's
story.
up to some shady business. She's sending,
yeah, who was she talking to?
who is she? I don't know, man. She sent someone like this French dude. I forgot what his name was. You guys can help me out. And like he's trying to kill Sam, so I'm like, I don't know, like, but like, does she work for the power broker? Like, so wouldn't she be trying to go after Carly? But I don't know. I have no idea what her shady business is, what she's up to. But I feel like I want to know more about that. I want to know if we're gonna hear it from the power broker. I want to. I'm excited to see that. I
My
would still
boy,
want to know who he is.
Power Broker.
I
That's my
still
boy.
think he
Tough
could be the
Caps.
Mandarin. I want to see who is this guy. Honestly, that's my big thing.
My boy Power Broker be sending threatening text out there. Yeah, I'm a kill
Nate, what
you.
about you? Nate, what about you? What do you think you want to see in the last episode?
I definitely think we're gonna get that final clash now between Captain America and Bucky. Well, Captain America and Bucky versus like the Flag Smashers or what's left of them. I do think we're gonna get like that whole. I do think somebody's gonna defect. And I think we're gonna be in a situation where, I mean, they might be winning, and then that person kind of defected. Is like, yo, this isn't the right way to do this. Definitely because definitely if they're like on live TV or some shit or something like that, and it's like, you just showed the world we're terrorists, not people fighting to save people if we're just killing people. That's just I think he's gonna fall off with that. I do think we'll see Walker, but I don't think he'll be a part of any of this. I think he's still gonna he's still recovering and stuff like that. He had his arm broken, so on and so forth. Like I don't think he'll be.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he
So
that
I don't
arm
think
was
he'll be a
broke.
part of any of this, but I do think, like I said, if there is a season 2, I
hope so.
100% think he's going to be a part of a season 2.
100%, 100%. He's an amazing actor too. Can we just talk about that?
And
Absolutely.
And I know in the comic book he eventually becomes somebody else anyway. Like he's not Captain America; he becomes someone else who's like Sergeant Stars or some other wild name.
I think it's Agent Zero or Agent or U.S. Agent, right?
Yeah, or something like that. And he ends up becoming kind of like not a hero at all, but like kind of like a anti-villain sort of situation, vigilante sort of stilo. Eventually, he just full on turns like to start fucking people up. Like he just kills people. Like he kind of almost goes into like a Punisher situation, but not as cool and not as accepted for some reason.
See, Chris, before you go, I just want to say like giving like a small little credit
go ahead.
to Marvel here. I just think it's fantastic how you can have something so crazy and cosmic with like the Thanos, WandaVision, the witch stuff, like, but then go to back to like a U.S. government based stuff and still make it be so freaking interesting.
Something so
Like,
grounded, right? Yeah.
you know, like it's like you go like on the big side of things, you have way more cosmic beings above this. Like it's just
Sure.
like who cares about this? But at the same time, it's like still so freaking interesting that you can still even transition from
I
something
mean,
so big time, big picture, cosmic multiverse, and go down still to like a government based issue and still be so freaking interesting, you know? So shout out to Marvel, man. They're doing
I think what one of us said it, and I don't mean, but maybe I said it when we first started watching this. It felt like almost like one of the I don't it's a shame to call them old school, but it felt like one of the old school Netflix series where it was real grounded and gritty and just running through the streets, and there was no space. There was not. You know what I mean? It felt,
right.
and it does. I think that's why I've enjoyed it so much, because it does. It feels like one of those, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist kind of. It does. It just feels real grounded, and even Brendan, to take it, a step further, like. There's all these otherworldly things going on. They're not things, they're problems. Like this whole reality thing with Doctor Strange, that's a problem.
Right, for sure.
like that's something that's coming up that they're going to have to deal with. I mean, that's a problem.
Right.
So, but you forget about all that stuff. You really do. You forget about all that kind of stuff when you're
like,
watching.
There's still some problems right now here.
Oh, but there's some problems. You know what I mean? The whole invasion with the scrolls and all that kind, like there's some problems.
Right.
Here's
Go ahead, Nate.
I will say, here's what I think it is. Marvel just, all their characters feel like people. They happen to have, powers as well. But they all have like people like as well. Like I think like DC, like they did a much better job with like the Snyder Cut, so on and so forth. Even though they said they're not continuing that universe because they just hate their fans, obviously.
They just hate their fans.
But even so, like
that's the greatest thing ever.
Their characters just felt like characters. Like even in that movie, they had more backstory, but they still just felt like characters. While in this, like, and they had problems, but their problems even felt just like like you're just like a fictional character. Like the people in like Marvel, like they're suffering from like there's like real ass shit. Like they're facing like real problems on top of there's like their heroes and they got to do all their hero shit. It's like the in between that you don't get in the DC universe, essentially.
And we've talked about that, and here I go, saying my famous line. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but we've talked about that just because there's zero continuity every time you bring in a new Batman, you bring in a new Superman. There's none. You know what I mean? So when you look at like Sam Wilson, and the first time you see him, and he's running or trying to keep up with Captain America, and you see, okay, well, yeah, he's not a super soldier, but then it cuts right to him and essentially Steve Rogers listening to him talk to soldiers with PTSD and talking about how to get over things. And you even see Steve Rogers kind of take up that mantle in Endgame, kind of dealing with the, so there's very little in between or gaps with these Marvel characters. So essentially, as their stories grow, we grow along with them, but there's very little like things that are like left out where you're just like, well, why is he doing that? Like there is none of that. You know what I mean? There's no sort of guessing as to why a character feels a certain way, or I mean, we tried to piece together WandaVision. We're just like, why is she doing this? But it filled in, it answered all those questions, and it even made sense. It even went back to, her upbringing as a kid. We were trying to figure out why the old TV shows and all this kind of stuff. But I mean, there's very little, gaps or missing pieces or things where you have to, just kind of fill in the blanks yourself with these Marvel characters, and there's that continuity. You've just, you've seen them from their very beginning to a lot of times their end. We're still trying to piece together what's going on with Steve Rogers, but we've seen him from a little pissant little kid, essentially, who didn't really have anything, but he had heart and became Captain America, and you see him, ups and downs. Like there was no guessing why this person did this or why this person did that. There's none of that. So, and I just think that's something that Marvel's done way better than DC. The movies, the DC movies, I'll say DC, their CW, you get all that. You absolutely get all that.
100%. 100%.
You got that with Oliver Queen. You got that with Barry Allen. You got that with even some of the characters that were part of that show. You got that with Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, in the Green Arrow. You know what I mean? You got all that. So,
right.
Again, that's my tangent for tonight. I apologize. But to even just kind of piggyback on that, going back to Bucky and him trying to piece together and put together some sort of blueprint to live out a normal life. I think one of the things I hope to see is maybe he kind of goes back and with his friend. And I love that conversation he had with Sam. And I forgot exactly what it was, but it was like, hey, you're telling these people what they wanted. Yeah, you're sorry. He said, but you really haven't, reached out to them to say how can you, help them? How can you be of service to them?
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that will be just seeing. I mean, you saw that scene where he could have killed Zemo, but he didn't. You see he drops all the bullets and all that kind of stuff, and he just kind of proved to
very dramatic scene there.
Yeah, he proved to the last person who actually had control over him. You don't have control over me anymore.
Right.
You don't. I'm in complete control. You know what I mean? Nobody control me now, and that's that kind of dynamic with him. Is like, okay, now you got control over your life. What are you gonna do with it? I hope we get some sort of I don't think he'll do it, but I would love for Sam to some way, shape, or form acknowledge the fact that there were others that carried the mantle of Captain America that weren't ever acknowledged. Not saying Isaiah Bradley's name, because he doesn't want that, but I hope there's just some sort of silent kind of homage to him. I think we will see Sam essentially take the shield and go forth as Captain America, when it's all over. I had a thought in my head that I was like, you know what? The way this is going, Sam in so many ways is complete without the shield. He's got his family. He's a good, uncle. He's a good brother. I love the scene where he calls the people of the town. He's like, everything that my family's done for these people. He said, call all these people and tell them to go help them with this damn boat. You know what I mean? I love that. You know what I mean?
I like that a lot too as well.
And it's one of those things where, if you ask yourself, who needs the shield more, Sam or Bucky? Part of me was like, Bucky's going to end up with the shield. I don't know why. I don't know why. Bucky's going to end up with the shield. And even that conversation that Sam and Isaiah had, where he said, they'll never let a black man be Captain America. And not to say this Sam conceding to it, but I don't necessarily know if Sam needs the shield.
I don't think he even really wants it, honestly. At least not at first he didn't. But I feel like he
understands the responsibility. He understands the obligation, but I don't think he needs the shield. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I think he will, he will end up with it. I'm super pumped to see. And if I had to guess, I'm assuming they're his new wings. and them damn Wakandians. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it was only a day before Bucky was like, "Hey, I need a favor,"
Right.
and they dropped off this package. Like them cats.
They don't play around.
I'll say that it could have been a couple of days because he was in Russia.
He wasn't Sokovia. You're right. But
They
still,
don't play around.
they don't mess around. Like they was there faster than Amazon. Here you go,
Yeah,
package for Mr. Wilson.
Than Amazon.
Okay. So,
oh my gosh, that's actually so funny.
I when we're done here, I'm going to look and see if there's a season 2, just because that whole Madam Hydra thing, I think that's a cool dynamic. I can't see her doing much in one episode. Both of you kind of.
There's a lot to explain.
What's that?
Still.
Yeah, both of you kind of said you don't think you're going to see Walker in this next episode. I'm going to just slide something in here real quick. I think we will. I think.
You think so?
I don't think.
I think we will.
Important part.
I think he's going to help Sam and Bucky square off against the Flag Smashers, because there's still like 5 of them left, right?
Yeah.
There's still like 5 or 6. There's a handful of them left versus Sam and Bucky.
That's a good bit.
And now you throw in George St. Pierre. You know what I mean? He's the Frenchman. I see Walker showing up to help him. Not dressed as Captain America. I don't know. He might be dressed in his fatigues, which I think that would be dope. If he just showed up in his army gear, fighting alongside of them. I see him either killing Carly and like Sam not wanting that to happen or whatever, and him getting taken away, kind of like that, almost that kind of iconic comic book shot where you see Steve Rogers getting arrested, and being walked away, and I see him going to the raft with Zemo, which is setting up Thunderbolts. That's kind of what I see.
I can see that happening as well. I can see that.
Yeah,
actually, that would be honestly kind of awesome.
Like that to me, like that to me kind of, because now like he already knows he's not with the government no more. He's not Captain America. Right. But you also saw him. He took his boy's medal and he put it on his shield. He wants revenge for his boy. He went and talked to his parents. He's going after Carly. He's going after Carly.
100%.
Yeah, you killed 100%. The one who killed my son? Yeah.
Right. No, he didn't.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, he was definitely
So I see some sort of scene where Sam and Bucky are just getting it handed to them, and this cat like jumps off of a building or somewhere, with the shield, and the 3 of them are fighting together, and he kills one of them. They have to arrest him, and he ends up on the the raft with Zemo, and I see that lining things up for the future. That was just my thought when I saw that. Sharon Carter, I don't know who the hell she is. If she's the power broker, I kind of believe that like this power broker thing has just kind of gotten swept under the rug. I don't see it. I mean, if it's
the main texter,
yeah. Now it's almost a given that the power broker. There's no middle ground here. It's either somebody we've already seen. We're just like, oh, okay, I couldn't guess that. Or it's somebody like, oh, shit. It's one or the other.
See,
it's one or the other now.
My guess, like I said, I already told you my guess. I feel like it could be setting up. We always talk about like setups and like, which Marvel does all the time. They're setting up the Young Avengers. They're doing that right now, as we currently know. They're setting up the Thunderbolts, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel like, there hasn't been any setups for Shang-Chi. Like, what if it's like the Mandarin? Like, he's a pretty powerful being in, like, a Madripoor type atmosphere. Like, I feel like it could be him. That could be a setup to him. I would be honestly very upset if we know nothing about the Power Broker after episode 6. To be honest. I'm going to I want to know more about because he was such a looming factor in like the first 4 episodes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Honestly.
That's all you heard about.
And so I really want to know more about him. I want to know. You might not have to reveal him, but I want something dropped about him in this next episode.
The two things when I think about the Power Broker that come to mind. We know that the Flag Smashers, Carly and her crew, they stole the serum from the Power Broker. We know that. We also know that if you go back to those early episodes, when he was sending up messages, they were afraid.
They were.
Carly
afraid. Was very, very afraid.
They were afraid. So that's why I'm thinking like it might end up being somebody just like on a ridiculous level to keep to even to have them shook. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. To have I mean they have the serum. They're essentially as strong as super soldiers, and for them to be shook, it has to be somebody pretty significant.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Has to be.
Like, who would that be in the Marvel universe? Do you think?
Man, like I wouldn't like. I don't think anybody's. I don't know.
Like even Zemo didn't want no business with the Power Broker. He said, "No, man, I don't want any business with him." Like none of that. All right.
I don't. I don't. I mean, a lot of things lined up right away, and I was like, okay, it's Ross. Like he had it. You know what I mean? We know Ross is everything from the Abomination to the whole him wanting the Hulk for that. I mean, he's always been after the super soldier thing. I don't know who. It just everything lined up real fast for me to say, okay, it's got to be Ross. It's got to be Ross. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But now, like for somebody to be like that afraid of, and yes, he's got connections and blah 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 blah. Like I get all that. These cats were shook, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, how did they steal it?
Yeah.
How did they steal it? Did somebody steal it for them? I don't know. I don't know who it could be. I really don't know. Part of me wants to say it's maybe if you remember in the Edward Norton Hulk, the guy who helps the Abomination. I forgot what did they call him, Nate? He turns into somebody.
I forget. Then he turned into like the release.
But it was but it was one scientist. Yeah. I forgot what they call him in the comic books anyway. It could be him. It could be Sharon Carter. I don't see her having.
I can't see it being her though.
I'll be surprised if it's her. I'll be
shocked if it's her. Honestly, like after last episode, it makes you feel like it's her, but I don't think it is though because everyone keeps referring to it as a he, and maybe that's like.
Setting it up, right?
Like,
sure.
Right. Like, I feel like that's just like setting up to be like some person that's like, I don't think it'll probably be her. Plus, it's like, I don't think she would have like done all the things she did. I think it was episode 3 with like fighting all those bad guys and doing all. Wasn't that the Power Broker's men or something? Am I not mistaken?
Say that again.
Like remember like that episode when they were confronting that scientist and like Sharon was fighting all those bad guys. Was that not the Power Broker's men? She was fighting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right. So I don't know why she would do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like, and like even when she got back in the car, she was like, oh, like the Power Broker's not gonna be happy, like like because the scientist got killed by Zemo. And she was like, oh, this is like a bad situation or whatever. So I don't think it's her. I would be shocked if it was.
You said something, Brennan, and it made me think of somebody else who we don't have. And you said Marvel's always setting things up, and if Shang-Chi the Mandarin, but even somebody and we're going to get this in July. If if we're dumb enough to pay $30 for it. But like, it could very well be Taskmaster.
It could be.
Could be.
You know what I mean?
Well.
It could be the Taskmaster. I mean, I've seen a lot of things recently now that I guess the whole Black Widow program, where even though they weren't super human, but like they have like small doses of the super soldier serum in them.
Mm.
You know,
That thing's just been passed around, man.
everywhere. The three. There's a chance one of us have. Okay. But I've been with leading up the whole Black Widow, and I'm thinking because I originally heard that Falcon and Winter Soldier was in some way, shape, or form going to lead into
Black Widow.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
That could be it. I mean, you might be right by that.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I thought Black Widow was like a prequel, like before.
Okay, or was it the other way around? Maybe I'm wrong.
I thought Black Widow was supposed to be like before everything. It's supposed to be like the Red Room and everything like that.
Yeah, I just heard there was some sort of. I heard there was some sort of connection between the two. I guess that's what
I heard it's supposed to be like about like obviously her upbringing, but I think it's also supposed to deal with some events after Civil War. Is what I've been told.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's supposed to take place right after Civil War. I just heard there was a connection, between the two. So again, this is all speculation. I'm not sure, who the power broker is. I mean, just trying to what makes sense. I don't know. We thought we were going to get a Stephen Strange cameo in WandaVision, and we didn't. So I don't know. Who the hell it is. But I think Brennan, to your point, I mean, I think they've already set things up with the whole Madam Hydra, what that's going to turn into.
For sure.
If we don't see Walker, to what you guys said, if we don't see Walker this episode, that's definitely something setting up. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Any final thoughts from you guys, or how you?
I mean, we'll definitely have our end of season review about just the entire season, about episode 6. But I mean, it's just been a great series. I feel like we definitely are lucky to have the Marvel pumping out this great, amazing content. And I'm just excited for the new series to come.
Just a question for you two: should we break that up like we did? Should we do like episode 6 and then come back and do a season recap like we did?
I like
with WandaVision.
Okay.
Yeah. So y'all stay tuned for that.
And then my last little thing is, it seems like we glanced over this. They mentioned that the shield is actually not government property.
Yeah, they did.
They did mention that.
Like, it's actually in a gray.
It's a legal gray area.
It's not owned by anybody. Whoever got it, it's theirs, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. It's a legal gray area, as she called it.
They made that threat to Walker when he left, like, you have to return the shield. She's like, I know you don't have it, but don't worry about it. They can't do anything because it's not theirs to do anything. Essentially over.
Right.
I mean,
listen.
When they said it was made out of vibranium, and even was it Iron Man or I forget what movie it was, but they was like, well, I thought you had the last of it. And like, no, we don't have it. I think it was Age of Ultron. I think that's what it was. I thought you had the last of it. No, there's more. I don't know who owns the ship. You know what I mean? It's I guess the person who wears the mantle is the owner. But the way old girl from Wakanda knew how to use that shield, it makes you think. I'm pretty sure if they want it back, they'll come and get it.
I don't know. I mean, they might feel like I feel like if they wanted it, they would have taken it right there.
That's what I'm saying. She almost did. She almost did. Yeah, she almost did.
100%.
Until old girl was like,
she just looked. She looked at Walker like, listen,
give it back to him.
Do you even know what this is made out of? Where it comes from? Get out of here, kid.
But yeah, man. Shout out to Marvel so far. They knocked it out of the park with this one. Can't wait to see what the last episode brings. As Nate just confirmed, we'll do our episode 6 final thoughts, and we'll do a season recap. Looking forward to that. Hopefully, we'll get some of the answers, some of the questions that we have answered. Hopefully, it is a longer episode.
I love that.
And I've enjoyed the long episodes too, but like now I'm like I want like a 2-hour episode.
I don't know if it'll be that long. I don't know.
Give me an hour and a half. 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 Give me a mid-credit scene and an end-credit scene, and I'll be cool with that. I'll be cool with that. But yeah, y'all stay tuned for that. Appreciate the support. I had one of my friends subscribe the other day. So we may have one more subscriber on there. I told her to spread the word. Got a lot more exciting content coming. Loki's coming. We got Mortal Kombat coming.
I can't wait for
that. Black Widow movies coming. There's a little bit of controversy around that, but I'm sure we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we'll see it somehow, guys. Just know we will see it. We will see it, just like the rest of you somehow. We'll probably be in theaters. I might, most likely. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So stay tuned for all that. Like we always say, like, comment, subscribe, share.
We appreciate it.
Just stay on this journey with us, and see you guys down the road.
Thank you.
Okay.